Says we're going live.
What is it?
Are we live? Are we live? Live. Okay. Hey, everybody. And just so everybody knows, you know what? I'm going to have to start doing some more disclaimer voice things because it's been a while. But welcome to Geek Easy. This is, for some reason, I'm hearing myself. Why am I hearing myself? Oh, that's why. Okay.
Talking to yourself is narcissism.
I am. I'm talking to myself. Narcissism. Where was I? Now I completely lost my train of thought. Thomas, where'd you
trains.
go?
I like trains.
I like trains. The following broadcast
I like turtles.
that you're about to hear is intended for mature audiences. The thoughts and opinions that we express are solely ours and have no bearing whatsoever on the station, the website, or any affiliated partners. And as always, listener discretion is advised. And I think that's about it. So here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Geek Easy.
And that's all done. So here we go. I just posed a question to the guys on the show before we went live. Would Darth Vader set off the alarms at the Mos Eisley, the Mos Eisley bar?
Probably not, because he actually is still a living being. So he has a heart, and so it likely detects that, whereas droids don't have hearts.
I would assume they have enough of a biofilter sweep to realize that that's biomechanical engineering.
Those
are attachments.
Honestly, it depends on how the sensor works, because it's clearly not just like a metal detector or anything.
I don't know.
Well,
I just thought it was odd.
Well, wouldn't that just be odd? He walks in there and it just starts going off like, "You, sir, you can't be..." Oh.
Well, they kind of... I asked this because in the Lego Star Wars, he does that. He walks into the cantina, and it sets the alarm off. He's like, "Hey, we don't serve your kind here." And he grabs the dude and slams him into the ceiling with the force. And then he drops him. He's like, "Okay, you can come in. And then later in the same show, C-3PO walks in, and he goes, "Hey, you can't." And they all scream, "Lighten up!" And they start, and he's like, "Okay, you can come in." And all the droids flood into the cantina.
This is why you don't make exceptions.
It's discrimination.
I guess it's kind of like when Andy Dick walks into a bar. It goes downhill from there. Man,
Trying to place Andy
warm
Dick
in here. Woof.
I mean, you didn't bring up Andy Dick.
Nah, that was a bad joke.
Is there any other?
And you had to stroke the joke a little bit. Pay
Careful.
attention to it.
You keep this up. You keep this up, and you're gonna get aqua crotch.
Mm.
You don't turn the heat down; it's gonna get moist.
I'm surprised I never got a reply from DC on that one, because I did tweet that to DC.
I saw that.
I was like, how did no one catch this?
And I guess DC's like, if we don't talk about it, no one's gonna notice it.
Kind of like the Arby's logo.
If we don't acknowledge it, it doesn't exist.
Yes. Excellent.
It didn't happen.
You're supposed to pay attention to his massive pecs.
That's what we're calling it now.
Well, you know what? I guess there are some geeky stuff happening, geek movie-wise, but now it's basically just rumors and news stories that are coming out.
Paramount
As-
just spat on all Trekkies.
Yes, it did.
You act like they haven't done this before.
But
No,
this is them
I would call
admitting
those first
to
two
it.
movies not spitting on us. It rhymes with spit.
No, but
Now they're
see,
just taking the boot and grinding it in.
see, they could have claimed, "Oh, we gave JJ full creative control, and he was responsible for that." Now they can't hide behind that.
Now they got to hide behind Orsi, which
Orsi's
they
like,
did.
nope.
Which they did. Like they're coming out and saying that Orsi's script was too Star Trekky.
I don't think he knows how to
How do you-
do Star Trek.
How do you do too much Star Trekky?
I don't know.
Isn't the whole point of it Star Trek?
Yeah, if you want the Star Wars, too late.
He'll work for Disney. Oh, wait, he already did.
We want more Battlestar Galactica. We want it. Yeah, we want Battlestar Galactica. Yeah, that's it. What?
No, that makes no sense. It's Star Trek. It's its own thing, guys. I mean, this used to be the thing that kept up the entire studio. Did you guys forget what made that work?
It's the young. They must go after the young and stupid.
Seven Pegs comments. Nailed it.
I really do have severe fear for the next few generations.
He nailed everything in that article.
You know, I didn't read the whole thing.
Didn't he have to backtrack though?
No, not really.
So I remember seeing something where he was talking about how sci-fi has been dumbed down and whatnot, and then he had to come back later and, essentially backtrack on what he said.
I think it's time we crowdfunded a series called Trek to the Stars.
Wagon Train to the Stars.
With the money we could would have to crowdfund for that. We might as well have our own space program.
Starring Captain
Planet.
Kames T. Jerk.
Kames T. Jerk.
Sorry, I forgot that Jay was going to mess things up.
That is an all kind of innuendo all in itself.
Mr. Spork.
What do you make of this reading, Mr. Spore?
Spork.
No, I
He's
was
a blending
referring
of two things.
I was
Mr.
referring
Spore.
to California Raisins.
And we can borrow Welshie from Futurama.
Welshie.
No.
I miss what Futurama.
Didn't they bring it back for a little bit?
Oh yeah, it was back
Several
for a few seasons.
times.
But
And,
it's finally done.
It's finally done.
It was starting to peter out by the time it finally ended.
You know, at least they ended it when it started to peter out, unlike, say, The Simpsons, that just keeps going and going, like a Saturday Night Live skit that stopped being funny 20 years ago.
I thought it was cool the way Comedy Central aired the final episode with the kind of loop that it goes through. It ends, and then they aired the first episode.
Yes. Well, they did it right. Comedy Central, I mean, what was it? I know they took it from Cartoon Network when they actually started making new ones. Because I guess Cartoon Network had the syndication rights, but then Comedy Central got it, and they started making new ones, and they got the rights to the old shows. So yeah, I think they did it right. It was a good show. I would say it was better than The Simpsons, probably better than Family Guy.
If you take just like the first 8 seasons of The Simpsons and compare it to Futurama, it's not even close. Simpsons kicks its ass.
That's true. And there are Simpsons moments that I still to this day remember from when I was a kid. That's really sad. I can say I remember The Simpsons when I was a kid because I remember watching the Tracy Ullman show and seeing The Simpsons. And yeah, so I was a kid when the show came out, and it's been on that long. But the one with the Daredevil Bart, where they're watching the dude jump over the tank that has sharks and piranha, and for good measure they throw in a lion. and he makes it over, and he lands, and then he falls off the other ramp into the water, and they show him trying to get out, and he almost makes it, and he's like all torn up, and the lion comes up, grabs him, and pulls him back in the water. Stuff like that. Funny. It was the timing on it that was perfect. The urine monkey on the back of Clown's, Krusty the Clown's. He's like, why do they call us the urine? Oh, and Bart's like, that's funny for so many reasons. And now it's what 22 seasons. Now they're into 21 seasons.
Over
Many
500
seasons.
episodes.
And one of them's leaving.
And
one of them
is
died.
leaving. Yes, one of them died, and one of them is leaving.
And the twins' hair, are the twins or lesbians? I don't remember.
Who? The Marge's sisters?
Yes.
They are sisters.
Okay. That works.
One of them is a lesbian.
That's right. And their hair, the purple is just smoke.
And Ash.
But I guess we can get to the news on that one, that Harry Shearer has left the show. The voice of what, 90 characters?
A few, certainly.
But some fairly major ones. Major Burns. He's Burns. He's
Yes.
Smithers. Reverend
Yeah.
Lovejoy. He's, wasn't he Willie?
I don't think so, but I don't.
Hi,
know
Dilly Ho,
so.
neighbor.
Oh, he's Ned Flanders.
Yeah, he is Ned Flanders.
He's, what's his name? What's the other, Homer's friends there? Not the black one, the other one. The one who talks like this, yeah.
I know who you're talking about. I can't think
Lenny?
of Lenny.
Lenny, that's it. He's Lenny's voice.
Isn't he also Skinner?
Yes, Principal Skinner.
You too, Snitchy.
And Skinner's become more and more of a main character over the years.
And I mean, again, I haven't watched the show in a while, but reading all the stuff, I guess on the show, Homer has buried the hatchet with Ned, and they became friends. So it was Ned was more part of the show all of a sudden too. So it's like
It goes up and down with Ned.
Stupid Flanders.
Stupid sexy Flanders.
And when they're when he's underwater, stupid flounders.
It's like wearing nothing at all. Nothing at all. Nothing at all.
Stupid sexy Flanders.
Dental plan.
Dental plan.
Lisa needs braces.
Dental plan.
Lisa needs braces.
What the heck?
You don't remember that episode?
No.
It was pretty early on, I think.
It's
Again,
when
it's
when
21
Homer,
seasons.
when Homer becomes head of the union.
And they were going to basically drink their dental plan. That's what, at least that was the idea for the union. And then Homer had reminders of Marge's voice going, "Let Lisa needs braces."
And then Lenny going, dental plan.
Hey, look, dead air.
Dead air, dead air, dead air, dead air, dead air.
So Jackie Chan and Owen Wilson are making another Shanghai movie.
I thought he was done with those kinds of films.
I don't know. The article says he and Owen Wilson are teaming up to make Shanghai Dawn.
I liked the first one, but they could have left it just at that and been fine.
I don't know. I mean, what is he, 65 years old?
Who, Jackie Chan?
Yeah. I know he's in the 60s.
He's
Been
always
doing-
say, I'm done with this shit.
He's been doing stunt work now in movies since, what, the late 60s?
He's got
Well, it's not
another.
that
He's got another Police Story movie coming out too, I think.
Well, it's not that he's done with films. He's done making like Western style comedies because he's like, I can't make sense of it. It doesn't make any sense to me. I don't find it funny, and it's just
Well, he's signed.
I don't get as much satisfaction out of them. The one, like especially what was the one he did with
Rush Hour.
was it? Yeah, Rush Hour. The Rush Hour films. The last one, he's like, I just don't get it.
He's 61.
Yeah, I mean, he did stunt work in Bruce Lee movies.
Yeah, and apparently, I just read something about that where he discussed about, oh yeah, I was a real young guy back then, and I was waiting for my part, and I go rushing in there, and Bruce Lee's just acting, and he's going to town, and he suddenly whacks me upside the stick, and I'm just upside the head with a stick, and I'm just a little dizzy, and it was tough back then. And he just kept on going, and he didn't pay any attention to it. But the moment the director said cut, he dropped the sticks and came rushing up to me like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry." It's like, and I was fine, but I started playing. I was like, "Oh, I'm really dizzy."
You know what I find amazing? Both Bruce Lee and Jackie Chan are so soft-spoken.
They don't
It's
need to.
yeah,
They don't need to
it's
speak loudly.
because their
They-
words hurt.
it was like, and it's really funny if you think about it. Even though he has the following he has and all the jokes and the meme, Chuck Norris is a fairly soft-spoken dude too. It's kind of odd.
Not necessarily, because I think it's more of like just training. Serenity. They're at peace with themselves. They don't need to boast and be loud, because that's opposite of what they
True.
are.
I mean, I like watching interviews with Jackie Chan. I love watching the old interviews with Bruce Lee and watching some of the old videos. I mean, YouTube is great for that. I actually just watched a whole bunch of Jackie Chan mistakes on YouTube about 3-4 days ago, and watching him break limbs, break his neck, which is really funny because he did the same stunt twice. The one that broke his neck when he fell through the awnings. I can't remember which movie it was. And they kept in where he broke his neck and he lands, and they went back and redid it 6 months later, and they used that one too. So he falls different in both of them. He lands differently in 2 different takes of the same stunt, and they left them both in. It's hilarious. Like, did we get the shot? Oh yeah, we got it.
Yeah, let's do it again.
And he was infamous for that one, getting hurt and be like, did we get the shot? And if they didn't get the shot, he goes right back and does it again. That's commitment. But it's great listening because it's just like, this man could literally like break everybody who's interviewing him and their desk and the couch he's sitting on and the whole set with like his feet in his hands and just go completely nuts. But he's such a calm, easygoing kind of guy. Same with Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee was the calmest dude and the coolest dude to just listen to talk. And then he'd be like, get up and show and like demonstrate the 1-inch punch and knock somebody clean on his butt. And you're like, wow.
Yeah, well, he was always being challenged on the films themselves.
True.
Apparently, there was multiple instances of random tough guys like, "Oh, you think you're so tough? Yeah, I'll take you down." And
Well, I guess
that didn't happen.
I guess there's a lot of tough like movie tough guys that have that. It's like Dwayne Johnson. When you see him do interviews, he's an intimidating guy because he's a monster of a man. He's huge, but he's still very personable. And recently, I guess he just got a letter from Spielberg, and it showed the humility he has too, because it totally humbled him that he got this letter from Steven Spielberg and shared it with the world. He's just like, yeah, I got this letter, and it completely like blew me away. And he's like, it brought me back to be like, hey, welcome to Earth. Get your head out the clouds.
He hasn't forgotten his history, his past. Came from pretty rough start, I guess.
But yeah, I mean, I guess there aren't too many movie tough guys that are brash and, I mean, in real life. I mean, Steve Austin kind of comes across that way. He's not really an actor, though. He's act dead, but he's not really an actor.
He's not an active actor.
But I guess it's more he's just a no-nonsense kind of guy, and he doesn't really like to take crap from people or just listen to crap.
Who are we talking about?
Steve Austin. You ever see interviews with Steve Austin?
Well, there's also the fact that Steve Austin is that's just the way he is. I mean, he's a tough guy.
Yeah. I mean, but not that he comes across with a chip on his shoulder. He just comes across that he doesn't have time for it. He's very it's like he's not a small talk kind of guy. He's not there to talk about the weather. Neither is Roddy Piper.
Things to do.
Roddy Piper is there to chew gum and kick ass.
At least he's doing it in that order and not, chew ass and kick bubblegum.
There you go. You know what? There are okay. If they're gonna do Expendables 4, Hulk Hogan and Roddy Piper have to be in it, and so does Mr. T.
But Hogan can't act.
It doesn't matter. Neither can
Neither
what's his
can
name?
anybody in those movies.
Neither can Couture or what's her name? The female. What's her name?
I didn't see the third one, so I'm not sure who you're referring to.
Rousey?
Yes, she can't act her way out of a paper bag.
But she's nice to look at.
She is. She's a pretty girl, but she really can't act.
And
It
she
was-
can
it was
kick all
hard.
our asses, so
Dude,
I'm not
I
gonna
don't
talk
care.
bad about her.
I am not. No, what you know what? As a fighter, she is incredible. I mean, and she is a athletic specimen beyond compare. But as an actress, sorry, sweetie, but it was you. It was obvious you were reading a script. It was pretty bad. But you're right. Hogan can't act.
Never could.
Roddy Piper can though. He was awesome in They Live. And Hell Comes to Frogtown. Come on.
Also, Tade, before you go painting with such a wide brush, realize you just said Harrison Ford can't act.
Yeah, I didn't want to say anything.
Okay, maybe a little bit less wider brush.
Harrison Ford can't act.
He said nobody in the Expendables movies could act.
Oh, I'm sorry, but you know what? Stallone can act.
There's a few there that
There are a few, yes.
that could.
Antonio Banderas can act. Wesley Snipes can act.
Kelsey Grammer can act.
Oh yeah.
You have to remember, I haven't seen. How many are there now? 3, 4?
Three.
3.
I didn't see the last 2.
Oh, okay, well. But again, you're not.
And
going to see-
honestly,
I'm not going to see
Jason
expen-
Statham is not bad. He's
Yeah.
done. He got typecast, but he tried to break out of it at times.
Well, the second one was a bit more relaxed. I think it was a better outing for them.
Yeah, it was still testosterone filled. I mean, the first one was nothing. It was nothing but a testosterone.
They were too serious on themselves. They were taking themselves too serious. That's what I need to say.
I don't think the first one was done as a joke necessarily, and then the next two kind of were.
Oh, the third one is nothing but in jokes. They're. I mean, yeah, woof. It was good though.
I'm still upset that Jackie Chan turned them down.
They got Jet Li back.
That was the thing that disappointed me the most about the second one.
Yeah, he's got a very small part in the third one too. And I guess Bruce Willis didn't come back for the third one because him and Stallone really don't like each other. As in,
Who
like,
didn't
for
come
real.
back for the third one?
Bruce Willis did not come back for the third one. They mention his character, but he's not back in the third one. And I guess off screen, him and Stallone butt heads too much.
Well, I mean, according to Kevin Smith, he's a bit of a dick.
Eh.
Well, now I don't think they butt heads all that much because they went into business together. I think they started up a line of restaurants.
Planet
Hard
Hollywood.
Rocks. Or was it Planet Hollywood?
Yeah.
Yeah, but there was a lot of people involved in that.
Yeah, Planet Hollywood. It wasn't just Schwarzenegger, Stallone, and Willis. There was a lot of people behind it.
But they still came together in order to
They
do
did.
it. So clearly
go-
they can work together. but
Yeah,
in
we got this
instance-
idea. We're gonna get a restaurant that's in giant round buildings and sells really bad hamburgers. Because really, the food in Planet Hollywood is, yeah. No.
When I
Never been
was
in one.
little, I loved Planet Hollywood. Every time we would take, like, my Hebrew school would take trips into the city in DC, and we would go to Planet Hollywood, and I loved it.
Now, again, Planet Hollywood, the one in Orlando, is awesome because they have some really cool memorabilia, like models and stuff. They have, they had the what's Robert? What was the name of the ship in Starship Troopers? Was it the Robert Young?
Oh, I know what you're talking about. I'll look it up.
It was they've got that model, and they've got a bunch of other models hanging, and they've got guitars that were used by certain actors and musicians in movies and stuff. It's really, that's the cool part about it. The food is kind of secondary. The food is very basic American fare, but it's the ambiance that's really cool. Now, I can say I kind of am not sure whether or not I got food poisoning at Planet Hollywood or one of the other restaurants in downtown Disney where Planet Hollywood is in Orlando, but I did get food poisoning that weekend, so it kind of leaves a bad taste in my mouth, no pun intended. It was most likely from the crab place, but kind of ruined my vacation before I lived there. But the ambiance and the actual, all the cool stuff.
Roger Young.
Roger Young. High levels of memory. Why do I keep getting this?
Oh, now are we going to play tech support on the air for you?
No, I keep getting this thing telling me I've got nothing open on Twitch, and it's telling me it's using high levels of, I don't know.
Kinda ran
That's
into the same
Firefox
issue.
for you. It just does that from time to time.
I ran into the same issue trying to live stream Star Trek Online using Procaster for live stream, and it's like, nope, can't do it. It's your CPU can't handle it. I was like, what are you talking about? I got an 8-core processor.
Ah.
I think my CPU or my motherboard is going bad.
Speaking of people who've been typecast in films and tough guys, I guess there's going to be a tough guy in the new Star Wars movie that you're not even going to see.
Then why claim he's in it?
Because he is in it. And there's a bunch of other people from the actual movie, from the James Bond movie. Oh, I just gave that away. Who are going to be in it, I guess. Simon Pegg let that one slip.
Yeah, but they keep claiming that there's still talks about, Benedict Cumberbatch.
You know what? What's his name? Daniel Craig is playing a stormtrooper. A stormtrooper with a helmet on. He's a stormtrooper.
People just offering themselves as extras for that, just so they can say,
yes, I was in a Star Wars movie.
Well, it had to do with they're shooting at the same studio that they shoot the James Bond movies at, and
Bond was being shot at the same time.
So he just ran over, and was like, "Hey, I'll act as an extra for you. Give me a helmet."
I think they need to have his stormtrooper talk to Gwendolyn Christie.
Could somebody point
Like,
out
that's
the tactical sense of a very chrome-looking stormtrooper armor? Apparently, they missed the lesson of Endor, which is don't stand out. Let's go further into see me, shoot me.
There you go. Here you go. The Clone
She's
Wars.
a badass. It doesn't
In
matter.
the Clone Wars, there were camouflage clone troopers. What happened?
Well, it's intimidation factor. I mean, it's just the idea that there's an endless,
Stream
wave of stormtroopers and TIE fighters, and that's why everything's expendable. Because we've got endless resources. There's nothing you can do. You must conform. We have no need to hide ourselves. It's kind of the same principle with Space Marines in Warhammer 40K. They're big, they're bulky, their armor is usually very colorful depending on their chapter, like Space Angels, not Space Angels. Anyways, there's a specific group that's all blue. I'm like, this is not very tactically smart. But then again, they don't care, that they don't need to be all, covering concealment, because they are the Space Marines. They are the endless, most powerful, force in the universe type thing. We are coming for you. We want you to see us so that there's nothing you can do about it. And that's really what the stormtroopers are about.
kind of like the British redcoat.
It could
That's
be
different.
It could be that it's like a ceremonial type thing, or like an honor guard type uniform or something.
What, the
Chrome
stormtrooper?
armor?
Yeah.
Chrome armor, yeah.
Well, she is a captain, so.
And it's not the Empire, so you have to remember that one too.
Like the Crimson Guards that the Emperor had.
There's a reason they wore red, and I can't remember what it was.
I'm
It's like
sure
this-
Alistair could tell us.
That is a big woman, by the way, Gwendolyn Christie.
She's very tall.
She's a monster.
She is awesome. I really hope they don't kill her off.
In what, Game of Thrones?
In Force Awakens.
They really kind of ugly her up for Game of Thrones.
Yeah, they do.
Well, the character's supposed to be
It
kind of
adds
homely.
to the badassness of her character. though.
Speaking of that, do you guys watch Game of Thrones?
I
I do not. I can honestly and proudly say I have never seen an episode of the show.
I'm behind by a couple seasons now.
I watch.
Okay, now I've got a question for you. Now, knowing that it is set in a time period and a place where it is very misogynistic and just women are given a bad shake throughout the entire 5 seasons so far, I think it is.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's
Okay.
very much medieval Europe style thinking.
Okay, so given that, I'm guessing, and I'm going to say this just because it struck my craw really funny. because I don't watch the show, and I don't. I mean, it's. I never watched it because it's not my thing. I don't need the dark. I don't. I'm not. It's not my. It's not. I'm not into the Dungeons and Dragons and magic and stuff. I'm not. That's not my fantasy. But, the Mary Sue just released after this past episode that they will no longer be supporting anything that Game of Thrones does and blah 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 because of the rape scene that was in this last episode. And I'm thinking 5 seasons of misogynistic behavior, and that's what throws you? Because I've heard other people complain how really nasty it is when it comes to the portrayal of how men treat the women in that show. Even though there are female characters that are powerful on the show, but it's still, there's a very, very, very misogynistic in the true sense of the word.
It really depends, actually. I mean, when you... I have watched it at least to most of season 3, I think.
Most of it's conjugal.
Yeah, there's definitely that.
This past episode was not...
Do you mean consensual?
It was straight.
Consensual.
It was straight up rape. Yeah.
It's consensual. They're all in character. I mean, and we're
No,
talking
I'm
just
not even
overall.
talking. I'm not even talking about the sexuality of the show. I'm just talking the way the women are treated in general.
Yeah. That's what I'm getting at.
Okay.
Honestly, it's all
Honestly,
part of that. The context of that
Of the
mindset
era.
and thought process. That era. Well, it's not really an era, but you get the idea. It's all in context. And in the case of the whole rape scene, well, that's a new thing on me. I had heard about it, but it's not in the books yet.
I'm guessing it was pretty. It struck a chord with God, what is her name? Pantalozzi, I think it is, the head of the Mary Sue. It struck her to the point where she was like, "Okay, I'm done. I can't. This is you've gone over the point."
It was for a lot of people. It was like that. No, you did not need to do that.
Okay,
I think the
I can
problem
understand
is
that.
more with which character it happened to, but people aren't willing to admit that.
It was
possible.
I gathered it was a
Because
character that had
she's
gained
one of-
power on the show.
No, she's one of the few kind of lily white characters on the show.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, well, and the thing is, the books haven't gotten that far yet because George R.R. Martin has a
No, the
weird
books-
writing style.
No, in the books they are that far, but in the books she
No.
she doesn't.
No.
No, they are. She doesn't marry that character in the books. It's a different person that marries him.
That book came out after they got done filming that season.
I've got Dances with Dragons. They don't have a new one out yet.
I thought he was still writing it.
He's writing the next one, yeah.
Okay.
It's not out yet.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm just asking because I don't watch the show, and you know what? When it comes to, I've got my own theories on that one. If you have to rely on boobs to get your people to watch your show, even though I'm guessing the storylines of that show are pretty intense.
That show doesn't need boobs to get people to watch.
But
it.
they do it anyway, and that
But
kind of
not
it's just
lately.
like it's completely well, I know the first season, the second season, people were telling me how it was disgustingly gratuitous, and I was like,
But
what?
the books are written that way.
Oh,
Exactly.
the books are even worse.
But when it comes down to it, where you've got a major publication, which the internet, the Mary Sue is a big deal on the internet, to come right out and basically just say we're not even gonna. Anything that happens on your show, that's a big geek following on the Mary Sue for both men and women. Or it's more women than men.
There's a lot of people that are upset about it, and I understand that it's upsetting, but I think when the problem that a lot of people have with it, whether they realize it or not, is the particular character it happened to.
It's a very distinct.
I don't know honestly, because there are certain things that we were just talking. We jokingly talked about it, and we kind of made light of it about the whole trigger word thing. But when you have a visual thing put on screen that people watch, now I had a hard time watching the event. There are certain things in the Avengers that shook me up because when buildings fall down, massive buildings fall down, something inside of me shakes because of 9/11, because I saw that. It is a trigger for me. I understand what a trigger is, and when you use that as a storytelling device, it's like I can understand if the rape was part of the story. There are movies and there are TV shows where a character were to get raped, and rape is a violent thing. It is not something that you should be taken lightly, and if it's just thrown into a story just because misogyny, that's kind of iffy. Did it further
The
the story
funny thing
anywhere?
is they don't show the act itself.
They show her face, which made it even worse. From what I
No,
gather.
they cut to a different character's face.
Yeah,
as he's
he's-
forced to watch.
The guy who's doing it is forcing another guy to watch.
And the other thing about it is, I think the reaction that all these women are having to it, and I'm not saying that they shouldn't be reacting to rape. That's definitely not what I'm saying, but they're acting like it was made to be a good thing or something, and it most definitely wasn't.
Okay. I have no idea. Don't watch the show. I just found it really, really odd.
It's going to be hard for you to understand without knowing the
Okay.
particular character it happens to. Because for me to say she's Lily White, like, it doesn't come across unless you've seen it, and
Okay.
how she's just stayed out of so much of the dirt
The
and everything
infighting
that
and
happens on this show. She's like the one innocent on the whole show.
Okay, and well, it's really sad that there's one innocent person in the whole show.
But she shouldn't be. She shouldn't be innocent anymore. She's almost slow in a way.
And I think that's what they're trying to do with this scene. But they could have gone about it a totally different way.
But for the sake of the books, they have to cause her to come into her own, and I think this is going to be one of the steps on that. Because I know in the books, doesn't she end up playing like a big role in the rebellion against these guys or whatever?
I don't know.
Actually,
I don't think
no.
they're that far, and
I
I haven't
don't-
read the book, so.
That's not Sansa.
I don't know.
That's kind of the spoiler right there. It's not Sansa. It's a lookalike.
Oh, well, either way, I was when I was going through all the news feeds and stuff over the past week. Well, that one struck out because I remember seeing that tweeted live from both the Mary Sue's Twitter and I think her name is Jill Pantalozzi. I think that's her name. I'm not exactly sure. I'm sorry if I got it wrong. And she came right out. She was not happy with it, and she was like, we're not doing it no more. The Mary Sue will no longer cover Game of Thrones whatsoever." And I was like, "Wow, that is a big deal." That'd be like Starlog, the old magazine or something, not covering Star Wars for a reason. It's huge.
I think it's interesting, though, that Slate is on the other side of that. And Slate tends to have a more... Slate definitely has a liberal bent to a lot of things and would normally come down on a lot of that stuff. But they're definitely on the other side of the issue, and I think that's an interesting twist on the whole situation. Because
And I'm reading the article you just posted up there, and it's written by a woman.
well, and see,
Interesting.
that's the thing, is Slate would go out of their way to find a woman to write that article.
Huh.
That's the way they do things.
Okay, well, since I don't watch the show, you guys watch it. We'll see where it goes from here. I was, as of what, it's like the big stupid uproar and that these activists, these male activists are having over the Mad Max movie, and now this. I was just like, wow, it's getting to the point where you can't even go to the movies or watch TV anymore without something bad happening to somebody.
Honestly, I have a much harder time with an earlier rape scene in Game of Thrones when someone rapes their own sister in front of the dead body of their child.
Yeah. Why? Yeah. Why would you watch something like this?
It's
Well, you've hit him with the ick factor.
it's hard to explain. Like,
It's
Two
like,
of
hi,
them-
you know
two
what?
of
What are you
them
gonna do
definitely get
tonight?
caught
I'm
up
gonna
in
go
the
home and
story.
hit myself in the crotch with a hammer.
two of the main characters are in an extremely incestuous relationship.
Yeah.
Again,
That's
why would you watch this?
It's really compelling television. Like, honestly, I had never seen an episode, and then I sat down one day. I was like, I'll watch the first episode, and then suddenly was binging on it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of
Seriously,
messed up
it's
things
really
in the series,
inside
yes.
my gut right now, and inside my. It's got the same. Just right here, you turned me off of the show completely. The same way that, oh, why don't you go watch the Kardashians? Exact same feeling going on right now.
Well,
Why
see,
would I? Why would I put myself through that?
I'm not telling you to watch
I
it.
know, I know.
But what I'm saying is, taking those scenes out of context does make. They're bad even in context, but within the flow of the show, they're not as shocking as you would think.
Yeah, it's
Now, I
like,
can
you know
say-
it's gonna happen.
I did see on either YouTube or something the Red Wedding where everybody got slaughtered at this wedding. 'Cause I had to. I had to. Everybody was talking about this one scene. I'm like, oh dear Lord, what happened in this scene that I have to see?
And she,
yeah.
and back to the rape thing, the girl that we're talking about, she marries into that family. It's an arranged wedding, pretty much.
Well, I thought that was her husband that raped her.
It is her
yeah.
husband that raped
Okay,
her.
okay.
We're talking for the recent.
She marries into that family.
No, she didn't marry into the incestuous family.
No, she married into the people. Well, the people who took over the North.
House Bolton.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's the phrase that do the red wedding.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
I don't know. See,
We're confusing Adam.
you're confused.
It's all the
Again,
houses and stuff. And
dude,
got
I have
this.
I have a hard time with the 4 houses in Harry Potter. So don't.
There's so many characters, and
It's ridiculous.
it takes so long for some of them to even pay off in the main storyline. That's honestly what keeps bringing me back, because it's like this is gonna
you
pay
wanna know what
off.
happens.
This has to pay off at some point.
I don't know.
Yeah,
it's
and if you read
confusing.
if you read the books, it's really deeply detailed stuff, but it's also kind of a slog to read. But that's why I can say that wasn't
I think-
Sansa Stark.
I guess
that was,
that
was an imposter.
Yeah, my personality and the way I watch movies that are going to take me someplace. It's like I can't watch movies that are about real life. I don't like watching like docudramas and all that. I don't like watching that kind of stuff, because if I wanted real life, I just go outside and watch people. That's why I like sci-fi, because sci-fi takes me away from this stuff, and I think that's why I like the new Battlestar Galactica. I don't like if it's always on a down note. I don't like watching that stuff. Why would I want to always watch something and get depressed?
Honestly, I will say, if that's your opinion, don't get into Game of Thrones, because the one like true good guy in that show dies early on.
He
And
gets his
then
head cut off in the first season. I know.
The only other one who you can kind of say is kind of good keeps just doing things that take him down other paths.
If you don't have a protagonist, what's the point of your story? If
Well, that's the
everybody's
that's
an
the thing.
antagonist,
That's the thing, though. You're trying to figure out who is the protagonist, because you're starting to cheer for like this guy named who goes by the moniker of Littlefinger, and then you're like, wait a minute, why am I
Why would anyone
why-
cheer for Littlefinger?
Because varies. You're not entirely certain what his deal is, although I kind of suspect he's working for the Targaryens, but that's neither here nor there.
it was Sean
Then you
Bean
got-
that was a good guy, right?
Sean Bean was the
Yeah, and he
was
lost
the
his head in the
quote-unquote
first
good guy.
season. I did know that much.
I take that back. I guess you could kind of say Bran is
Bran,
a
yeah.
protagonist.
And
But Bran
they're not
is
doing anything with his story right now.
annoying.
Bran's got he's out there with Hodor.
I mean,
San-
Arya is kind of a protagonist, but she's definitely stepped
She is
down the
in-
dark path.
And once
The
you start
Starks are
down the
getting screwed
dark
over.
path, forever will it dominate your destiny.
The Starks
yeah.
just getting screwed with the entire time. Well, and actually, I did forget Jon Snow would be a protagonist, and actually would fit more of that, field than anybody else. But we don't know what the hell's going on with him either. Again, the Stark family has just been screwed over 10 ways
I
to
would
Sunday,
say
and they're going to
Tyrion.
basically come back and slaughter everything in sight when they finally do.
I would
That's
say
my-
Tyrion's at least a secondary protagonist.
Tyrion, I would say, is more of the protagonist than others at this point.
I thought Daenerys was a good guy. Good girl.
Daenerys?
But she comes from a family of bad guys, and she's gotten really twisted as she's learned to play the game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That's
so
what the
you're
game
not
does
really
to
sure.
people.
So it's time to play the game.
Honestly, that's almost the whole point of Game of Thrones, is any righteous character either dies or gets twisted.
Again,
Oh, yeah.
if you're always going to end on a sour note, I don't know. That's why I like
It
Doctor
is compelling
Who
television.
and Star
It's a
Wars.
drama.
Yeah, there's a point where the
Normally, I
drama
would-
becomes too much.
Normally, I would agree with you, but it sucks me in. I don't know
Okay.
why.
Yeah, it's just
Story.
the story is rich, and for one thing, it's easier to get through on the show than it is in the books. And the details that they put into it and the work that they put into it is like, holy crap! You are just totally drawn into that world.
You know what?
completely. It's a lot like Star Wars in that respect. You are
Yeah.
pulled in entirely.
And I can understand that. I can understand that because, again, I've been pulled into things that I was like, why am I watching this? But it's like Battlestar Galactica, the new one. You get sucked into it. You really do. Even though it was on a down note a lot.
That first season took me a while.
Most of the show was on a down note, but it did suck you in because the drama was good. But I honestly think that the payoff at the end of the fourth season was not enough for all the down notes you had.
I honestly, the other thing is when watching Game of Thrones, when you say, "Oh, I thought that person was kind of a good guy. Why would they do that?" The people you think of as bad guys always find a way to do something worse. So it's never an even playing field.
My
Hence
God, it's
Ramsay
like the
Bolton doing what he's doing.
WWE.
No, it's never a situation where everyone is equally bad. There's always someone worse, so that you can turn and say, "Okay, that person's not so bad."
Okay,
Yeah.
now back to the original point on this one. Do you think that this past episode, this past scene, that scene in question, was any worse than any scenes that had come before in the 4 seasons that preceded it? Was it? Did it? Do you think it was? Like you said, there was a rape scene where someone was raped in front of their dead child, which I'm sorry, that would probably turn me off the show right there.
I think that's the worst scene, the one that
Okay.
we just talked about, not this.
Maybe
current
you know
one.
what? I got to go back and maybe I'll after this I'll see if I can get on Twitter and talk to Jill. And I think her last name is Pentalozzi, and just talk to her about this one because I'd like to find out exactly why. Because I know other people were questioning her. It's like you just now this is what set you off after 4.5 seasons, and some people were kind of upset with her that she made the decision she made. And I was like, well, it's her website. Let her do what she wants. I mean, if you don't have to go to her website anymore if you don't want. If you're going to be that way about it. And now I have my own issues with them because they've said some things that kind of made my skin go. Ugh. But it's still, we still live in America. We still have the right to free speech, and she can do whatever she wants. And
Honestly, I know I've said this again, but I'm going to repeat myself. I think it comes down to two things for a lot of people: the character that it happens to, and this is one of the first major ways they've deviated from the books.
Okay. Well,
They're going to be
we'll leave it on
deviating
that
a
one.
lot. They've actually deviated a lot, anyways, because a lot of the kids for the Starks were a lot younger in the books, and they're just like, no, we can't. The things that you're going to have happen in this show, we can't have happen to the kids that young. So they aged them up, which was probably a good thing.
Okay. Well, okay, I can understand it.
But
So,
yeah, this season has like a lot of major changes from the way things go in the book. So people were already kind of, huh? And I think that, and like I said, the particular character it happens to is the button that a lot of people are feeling shouldn't have been pushed.
Yeah, I think though that the people who are getting thrown, really about that, only watch the show. If they had read the books, they'd probably realize that, oh, that's what's going on, because they did mention the abuse of what Ramsay does to the imposter that they're using to show the North. See, we have a Stark in this family. We have every right to rule you guys. So it's part of the political game. So yeah, she's getting messed up, and it's
the
in
guy
the book
that
way.
did it to her, it's not out of character for him. We're talking about somebody.
No.
We're talking about somebody who has completely broken another human being. I mean, literally taken his manhood.
Ramsay
He literally
Bolton is
chopped his penis off and sent it back to his father.
Yeah, Ramsay Bolton is. Woo, he's he needs to be put down.
Huh. Now, on the flip side of this, because I found it really interesting as I was reading through the Twitter and going to the Mary Sue and reading the feed and the way she wrote it and the way she had just put it out. On the flip side, we go on to the other side of this one, is the whole controversy and the idiocy that follows that's going on with this stuff with the Mad Max movie, where the
Idiots.
guys are losing their minds. Now, there are certain
them.
things. No, I'm going to sit here and say there are certain things that there are certain aspects of feminism that give feminism a bad name, and we all know what those are. Even other feminists come out and say, "Would you please shut up? You're doing bad things. This isn't about superiority; it's about equality." Okay, I understand that. These how am I gonna put this? These giant truck driving, um, sports car. I don't know. Just
Enthusiast.
yeah. How do I put this?
Manly
lightly without-
men.
There you go. These manly men. Now that being said, I could drive a tricycle and feel good about myself, but
Ding, ding.
I'm reading this stuff and I'm like, half these people hadn't even seen the movie yet. They're losing their minds over a strong female character in this movie who is a main protagonist in the film. I've not seen it yet. I was supposed to see it this week and I didn't see it yet. I've seen some of my friends have seen it and most give it good reviews. One gave it an authentic review, which I believe him, where he was just like, meh, it's okay. It was not the Road Warrior, and I kind of was cool with that one too. I was like, I'll go see it for the explosions and stuff. But he commented on the fact that, yeah, we got this strong female character. She's not believable in certain things, that they live in an apocalyptic wasteland and she made herself a robotic arm with all these intricate pieces and parts when all she really is a grease monkey or whatever. But there's
Why
all
is that not believable?
Yeah, but it wasn't believable to the point where she had the ability and access to the parts she has in her robotic arm. That's what he was talking, and that it all works off of just her stump.
Yeah, but that shouldn't have anything to do with the fact
Exactly,
that she's a
but
woman.
neither here nor there. She's a strong female character, and these guys are losing their minds. It's this, it's an agenda, and they're trying to weaken the male sex, blah, blah. I'm like, they're not trying to weaken the... Dude, have you ever seen Aliens, Alien 3, Alien 4? Have you not played Tomb Raider? Have you not... I mean, there have been strong female characters, and it's necessary to have strong female characters because it's necessary. I mean, there are strong women out there. So, I mean, it's ridiculous.
One
Then
of the
there's-
things that they're bitching about is supposedly she bosses Max around at times, and like they're like, Max wouldn't take that.
Okay, did you not know women? Women do that.
I'm not saying I
Okay,
agree
tell
with
us more, married man.
Oh, that's it. I mean,
I'm not saying I agree
It's
with
a-
them at all. I don't
exactly.
have a problem with the movie. I want to see it.
I
I've
do wanna
heard
see it.
really good things. I love Charlize Theron.
And think about it though, it's a post-apocalyptic world. If this woman is taking charge of, a group of, road warriors, whatever, she probably is pretty
Exactly.
much tough as nails. She's gonna be
Yeah.
that way. She's gonna
Fine.
order people around because she's used to that. Character.
I don't understand. Their whole big. I was laughing when I'm reading through this, like, oh my word, and
Those men wouldn't make it in a military structure with a female commanding officer.
exactly.
Some of them still don't, even when they are in.
Well, I'm going to keep my mouth shut on my experience with female officers in the military.
Hey,
I'm
my
not
sister's a
saying anything
female
on it.
officer.
I'm not. That's why I'm keeping my mouth shut, because I don't want to paint with a broad brush just based on my personal experience.
Okay,
I will say that there are some men in the service who don't handle officers who are female, and in command over them well. They may,
Oh,
suck it up, but they don't like it. You're going to get that regardless.
Oh,
anywhere.
that's not even what I'm referring to. That's why I'm not going to tell it.
Well, I know.
I don't want to seem like I'm painting with a broad brush when I'm not, because my
Yeah.
experience is related to a few particular people and their particular skill sets. It has nothing to do with women in the military as a whole.
No,
Well,
I'm
this-
just speaking in general, anyways, and very much about how some guys, regardless of if it's military or if it's the characters of Mad Max Road Warriors, or just these men's rights activists, it's like they're just not going to go for it regardless. They're not going to appreciate it. They're not going to want it. It's just the way
I
they're going
don't
to be.
understand. I mean, the term men's rights activist cracks me up because
It's stupid.
it is. I mean, it's really is ridiculous. But I mean, again, as long as you're talking equality, where there is an equal amount of respect and everything across the board, it's fine. So she is a superior character who is in charge. Well, that happens in real life. People have female bosses. People have female commanding officers. It happens. A woman in charge is going to be in charge. If that's her character, that's her character. Get over it. It's not the 1950s, and even in the 1950s, did you ever hear of a woman named Lucille Ball, who was tough as nails, ran a movie studio, ran a television studio, ran her own show again, and basically, I mean,
Picked
Lucy,
up Star Trek for syndication.
exactly. I mean, Lucy was a strong woman in the 1950s.
So do
I
these
mean-
guys bitch about Leia and Mon Mothma then?
I know. It's just like
Who knows?
I would love to see the review of Aliens. I would love to see these guys sit down. I mean, I don't know. It's like the whole barefoot and pregnant thing.
Let 'em
Holy
watch
caveman.
Rebels. Look who's actually running the show in Rebels.
Yeah, Hera
Hera.
is the main. Yeah. And you know what's really funny? I mean, I like. I mean, watch. What was it Agents of Shield? They've got
Agent
more-
Carter.
Agent Carter. It's just like all of these things. It's like it happens, dudes. There are cool, strong female characters.
They
Not
missed the
every
point.
woman. I don't. Yeah, you're missing the point. It's just like the whole barefoot, pregnant in the kitchen, that kind of that attitude, dude. That was wrong 50 years ago. It's still wrong. It's just wrong. She shouldn't be walking behind you. She should be walking at your side, not in front of you, not behind you, at your
not-
side.
Not defending their beliefs in any way, and not saying it's a valid thinking process at all. But I think it's because it's an established, strong male character that's getting bossed around. That's what's getting to them. Not that I care. I mean, I don't care if Mad Max gets bossed around by whoever. But I think that's what they're using as their
Tina Turner.
excuse.
If the story calls for it, then by all means, the story
yeah.
will have it.
And it's not like this is the first strong female character in Mad Max.
I know. Yeah. It's not like it's the first strong female character in any literature, media of any kind. But, well, you know what? You can't really go with Star Wars because there is only one strong female character. Two, well, 1.5 if you count Padme in the first movie, and Leia, and just like there's only one black guy.
No, there was two. We killed one of them.
Yeah. But it's just.
Well, and there's another one now.
Yeah, I mean,
No, that's true.
it's true.
We've let
And,
another
and
one out,
Lando's coming
guys.
back. And Lando, I guess. Here we go. Way to segue. Wow. Segues are working really good in this show today.
Yeah.
The I guess Lawrence Kasdan, who was the writer on episode 7, said Lando's not in this one, but that doesn't mean that he's not coming back, as long as Billy D. Williams stays healthy enough to play him in the next couple of years or whatever. But he says, yeah, he'll probably show up in the next film.
You know, Lando Calrissian would not be healthy.
Probably not.
He'd look just like Billy D. Williams.
Drinking all them smooth space 40s.
Oh.
Sorry, I had to go there.
He
That's
actually did those
racist.
commercials. He did those commercials. It's not racist.
I know.
I mean, there's a reason why white people know about 40s. It's because of Billy D. Williams.
Colt 45.
I've never had a Colt 45. Anybody had a Colt 45 before?
Meh.
Do they,
No
do they
idea.
even
No.
still sell Colt 45?
Yeah, I think they do.
To the Google machine.
I don't know, do they? It's not beer, right? It's malt, right?
It's like a malt, I think.
Yeah, but malt liquor's kind of just like, sort of like a type of beer.
We sound like the biggest bunch of crackers right now.
What is this drink you speak of? We have to do it as
What
you know,
is
kind of
this?
Shakespearean.
Hey, it could be worse. We could have Crack That Whip playing in the back.
I mean, if we're going to go down this
That
route
thing.
and we're going to sit there, I have drinking Mad Dog 2020.
Well,
But
Yeah,
yep,
but,
there we
never-
go.
but you do know that Mad Dog 2020 is made by Mogen David Jewish Wine Company.
Yes, I know. But
Colt 45 is a brand, and it's still being made, owned by Pabst Brewing Company,
wow.
and still being sold.
I'm just, you know what now? I mean, I'm 42 years old. I'm going to have to go get myself a Colt 45 and see what all the hubbub's about.
I mean, literally all MD 2020 is like the leftovers from when they make the wine.
Let's see, it's a alcohol by volume is 6.10%.
That's it?
Yep. It's a
Well,
malt liquor.
he never said you're going to get drunk on it. You're just going to have a good time while you're drinking it.
No, that's the Sam Jackson beer. Drink my beer. He'll get you drunk.
Sam Jackson is supposed to star in a remake of The Blob.
Oh. End scene that the director of Tomorrowland wanted to put at the end of Tomorrowland. It's Brad Bird, right? Brad Bird did it.
Yeah, Brad Bird.
Okay, Brad Bird wanted to have, you just brought up Samuel Jackson, wanted to have an after credit scene in Tomorrowland. He pitched the idea to Disney, and he says, I want Samuel L. Jackson, and this is for real, said this in an interview, I want Samuel L. Jackson wearing an eye patch, with a lightsaber, standing there, the door opens, he's standing, he goes, yep, I'm in this one too. And they just cut it right there.
That would be amazing.
Disney turned it down.
Gee, I wonder why.
It's like, that would have been epic right there.
No, what's epic is Billy D. Williams saying, I drink, you drink, hell, if marijuana was legal, I'd appear in a commercial for that too.
Billy D. Williams just don't care. It works every time.
Back to the Samuel L. Jackson thing, that reminds me of a fan theory I saw the other day of Nick Fury going home and watching Star Wars episodes 1, 2, or 3. He's like, hey, that guy looks really familiar.
50% of the time, it works all the time.
That doesn't make any sense.
Honestly, it smells like pure gasoline.
Don't make me play the sound clip because I have it floating around here somewhere.
Do it.
Oh, I gotta find it. Hold on.
Adam's gonna go digging.
We can always use a little sex panther.
Wow. Just makes me think of fullback on the Shaven Wookiee.
Oh.
Smoff.
Oh. Okay, where was I? Oh, let me see if I can. I'll keep looking. I'll look for it while we talk.
Robert Kirkman will write one of the Transformers movies.
You know,
don't they know when enough is enough?
Robert Kirkman didn't he do a comic series?
Yeah, I think he did a little one called some little zombie comic thing.
That's not what I'm thinking of. Hang on, I'll look this up.
Robert Kirkman is the one who did Walking Dead.
No, I know. I thought he did another one though alongside that. Ah, Battle Pope. That's what it was. I like the term of it. You know, Battle Popes. Like, doesn't it go kind of counter to the whole point of being the Pope?
You know what? Maybe I should. I was just thinking. Remember, we were talking off air, and you were talking about comic book writing and stuff like that. And we talked about the story I want to pitch to Rob Liefeld. I just added to it in my head as we were talking, as we were thinking, and I'm looking for this. We were talking off air before the show started, and I said I want to pitch a story idea to Rob Liefeld so he can draw it, where the entire show takes place in a shoe store, a podiatrist office, and I was going to have something that had to do with wrists, but I'll just make it in a world where bracelets and pouches don't exist, and everybody has anime eyes.
Notice me, Senpai Deadpool.
Senpai Deadpool. Thing
Or
is, there
Deadpool
probably is
Senpai,
one.
whatever the correct vernacular is on that.
Actually, maybe it's just a comic book.
Deadpool Senpai.
It's just a comic book from the eyes of an infant or a toddler, where everything is just from the calves down.
So, in other words, it's just a foot fetish comic.
It's nothing but feet. I'm sorry, I'm really picking on Rob Liefeld bad, but
The funny thing is he's gotten so much better, but he's still so defined by what he did originally.
thing is, he fell back into his. And I read a couple of his comics when he came back and started drawing again, and I was like, wow, okay, his art's gotten better. 3 or 4 issues into it, he's right back to his old habits again. Where
He's got to go fast.
his anatomy was all off. Feet were nothing but either a box at the bottom of a leg or a triangle.
I think it's because he's Rob Liefeld, and he wants everyone to know that it's Rob Liefeld art.
Yeah.
Well, it could also be just he's trying to produce it as quickly as possible, so
You know what?
shortcuts
though?
get taken.
It's BS though, because he started right around the same time as Jim Lee and Jay Lee and a few of the other artists out there, who over the past 25 years since they started working in comic books, have progressed. And Jim Lee is now one of the best artists in comic books today. And if you look back at his stuff when he first started, it was horrendous. It really was bad. He had the same problems of most 1990s comic book artists, where everything was just completely wrong. Bodies don't bend that way. People's arms don't bend that way. Legs don't bend that way. It was just the way things were. And it was like Jim Lee now is probably one of the best artists out there. Jay Lee stuff. Even, I mean, what's his name? Spawn. McFarlane there.
McFarlane.
Todd McFarlane. He's gotten. I mean, everybody has progressed. Their artwork has become better. It's still their style. You can tell who drew it, but the artwork has gotten better. I, as an artist, back at my stuff I drew 10 years ago, I've gotten better. Not great. I'm not like putting myself up there the same as Jim Lee or anybody like that. But it's just like you can instantly tell when Rob Liefeld draws something because it's exactly like it looked 25 years ago.
That's what upsets me about him is I've seen proof that he can do so much better.
Yes,
He just doesn't.
and we all have. But I still say we pitch the story to him. Either it's a story that's told told at the perspective of a toddler, so nothing is above the knee is seen, or everything takes place in a shoe store and a podiatrist's office.
No, it's all just a world with with living shoes.
And anime eyes. Big, huge anime eyes. And wide noses.
Because reasons.
Well, no, I mean, everybody, we all fall into it. Artists all fall into that trap where everybody starts looking the same. And it's hard when you're drawing characters that you need to look different to constantly make them look different. But when you can overlay 6 different characters on a front cover, all drawn from the front, and the only thing that changes is their hairstyle, something's wrong.
Then you're just being lazy.
Exactly.
Speaking of crazy premises and propositions for ideas for either story writing or whatnot, came up with this random one while I was at work, and we kind of bounced the idea around a bit, and some of my coworkers joined in with it. The idea is, you've got all these different kind of Street Fighter type, games out there. You got Street Fighter, you got Tekken, Soul Calibur, Killer Instinct, and just to name a few. It's like, what they haven't done? It's like all of these guys, they're hardcore trained fighters, and so on and so forth. But they never done one that's like, the non-violent profession people deciding that they've had enough and become, they're street fighters. So we started coming up with a list of the non-violent profession street fighters, like a priest. Let's see, what was another one? There was the school teacher. There's the chef, which I came to the conclusion that if you're going to do this, it has to be like parodies of, products that are out there. So like the fast food worker works at McBurger. The chef is Chef Boya. And so on and so forth.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I think it'd be a lot of fun. I mean, we're talking about this, and one of the guys, he's just got this look on his face. He's like, I want to play this game.
Do it. Write it down.
I did. I'm holding the book here.
Excellent.
So like I got a whole bunch of different people you could use: cafeteria worker, a comedian, a cheerleader, car salesman, news anchor. I was shot down on the clown though.
Why does everybody hate clowns?
I don't know what
clowns.
the deal is. But I'm thinking, they're non-violent. They would be perfect for a game like that. Could you just imagine a clown running across the screen? Squeak, 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 squeak. Hits him with the rubber chicken.
No,
Can
dude,
I kill
seriously,
it now?
there are people who freak.
Hi. I don't
You
do
freak
clowns.
over clowns?
Ronald McDonald's about as much as I go. I hate
My
clowns.
wife doesn't do
Why?
clowns.
I don't. Everything about them scares me for some reason.
I can get it at least with one of my coworkers, his reasoning. He said that the movie It ruined it for him. I was like, I can get that.
I will not watch that movie.
I don't understand it.
I don't get it either.
It's just something in my head. Whenever I see a clown, it freaks me out.
Really, that's really weird. Not that it's weird, because that's a huge phobia. A lot of people have it. It's kind of like spiders and snakes and stuff. Which, there you go. There you go, feminist. Kill your own spiders.
So what do you do when Krusty comes on the screen, Tade?
See, that's different because I know it's fake and it's true.
Oh,
like Ronald
Krusty.
McDonald. Like those two.
Yeah, but Ronald's kind of creepy anyway.
It's like the new Hamburglar.
Ronald, I will give you Ronald's creepy. Ronald's creepy in a whole different way though.
Hamburger is just
The man
weird.
owns a restaurant that caters towards little kids.
Have you seen the Japanese version of him? It's kind of something awesome.
I've seen cosplay of the Japanese.
No, not cosplay. I'm talking about their actual commercials.
Oh no, is he like a samurai?
No, it's still Ronald McDonald, and he behaves just like Ronald McDonald, but he's speaking Japanese, and it's like I said, it's their commercials are something else to watch. There's like remixes out there of Ronald McDonald, young new, and it'd make it into music. Like it's something else. I can't describe it. You have to see it.
Okay, I'm gonna have to look it up after the show.
I'll find one for you, and you can watch it later.
Why are they remaking Point Break?
Because they're scraping the bottom of the idea barrel.
They're apparently remaking another one, not just Point Break, but what did I hear about recently?
And they haven't finished ruining my childhood yet.
Oh,
I'll
look,
never
more
be done doing
tattoos. Speaking of tattoos, the Joker does have his tattoos, by the way. And they need some serious security on the set of Suicide Squad.
When are we going to get a Savage Dragon movie?
Dude, Eric Larson has been fielding that question on Twitter for about 3 years now.
I love me some Savage Dragon.
I like Eric Larson he is a no-nonsense kind of guy. I follow him on Twitter, and I just love his responses to the idiocy of the world around him. He pulls no punches. I guess kind of like his artwork and his comic books, they don't pull punches either. He has been known to stir some controversy with his books.
Well, he did the whole pin-up thing inside Savage Dragon for a while.
Yeah. He's also the only person I know to make God say the F word, as well as Santa Claus.
I mean, I'm not saying there's not controversy associated with him, but I like his art style and I like Savage Dragon a lot.
It would, honestly, the titles that are not DC and Marvel, I think that would translate to the screen very well. It lends itself to it. But we are so saturated in comic book movies right now, and now that Valiant is going to jump into the mix, boy.
How the hell is that going to work?
It's not. They're all going to end up on Sci-Fi.
They have, like, most Valiant characters have next to no mainstream recognition.
That's what they said about Iron Man, which I still don't understand.
That's BS. Everybody, when they were little, was aware of Iron Man at some point.
Yeah, come on. My 3-year-old daughter, I walked up, I said, hey, she was drawing, and she asked for her markers. I was like, hey, draw me Iron Man. Okay, and guess what? She drew me Iron Man. I was like, you want a picture to look at? Sure. I gave her a picture of Iron Man on my phone, and she drew a face and put square eyes in it, and it blew me away. I was like, she knows who Iron Man is. So yeah, and I knew who Iron Man was. I watched the old cartoons. They had an Iron Man cartoon on in the 90s. Everybody knows who Iron Man is.
I never actually saw the cartoon.
This tale that he was some B or C list character, I don't know where that came from.
Like Captain America, Thor, and Iron Man were not B or C list characters.
I don't think anybody.
They were headliners.
I don't think anybody's ever tried to claim that Cap was anything but an A-lister.
Well, they're comparing them to, say, Batman and Spider-Man. Spider-Man is a household name. Everybody knows who Spider-Man is. Same with Batman. Two of the most popular characters. And Wolverine. Wolverine is a popular character.
Honestly, I think the big problem is that for so long, Spider-Man was just on such a different level for Marvel that other extremely popular characters, like, people just assumed they weren't as well known.
True. But now, I could not name you a single Valiant character if you asked me.
Bloodshot, Magnus the robot fighter. I think Dr. Solar was Valiant.
I know who Magnus is because it was
Turok is Turok.
Turok, Son of Stone?
Well, Turok had a Valiant comic. I mean, granted, Turok's been around since like the 50s, but yeah, Turok was a Valiant comic.
I thought DC did Turok for a while.
Well, Valiant did him at one point in the 90s.
Oh, okay. Now, the Magnet. Now, I never read a Magnus Robot Fighter. I used to get Wizard magazine, like it was. I mean, it was. I didn't have a subscription, but I picked it up every month. Same with Toy Fair, and I remember flipping through, and there was a big deal about Magnus or whatever, and they showed a panel of him smashing some generic robot, and he's like, "You know what I love about you robots? You blow up real good." Instantly, I knew I was never going to read that comic book.
That doesn't seem like something out of like the normal Magnus books.
That's exactly what was written. And instantly, I knew. Nope, not gonna read it.
Magnus is weird because I mean, yeah, he fights mostly robots, but the little bit I know about Magnus, he doesn't really talk like that.
That's how it was written. Now, wasn't Turok a dinosaur hunter as well too?
Yes, Turok
Okay.
Dinosaur Hunter.
But there was also Turok Son of Stone.
I have no idea what. The
Well, maybe I
difference is.
I might be crossing my streams here.
It may be that Turok is son of whatever, but the Turok that Valiant did and the Turok that's been around since like the 50s is a dinosaur hunter.
Okay.
That's where those Turok games came from on N64 and everything.
I don't know. I don't see how they're gonna. I don't know. I don't know how they're gonna do it. And they've got what 5 movies slated, right? 5 titles that they're gonna translate to the screen.
Let me double check.
Speaking of translating to the screens, the I guess the Flash movie that's going to be in the DC cinematic universe has been confirmed that it's going to be Barry Allen.
Oh,
Which-
it's so depressing.
It is with. I don't know how DC is going to pull this off. DC on the CW and now Supergirl coming out has shown that they can hold their own on television when it comes to their characters. And the writers on their shows are really good. Now, I will say that this season of Arrow was not as good as the second season. It was kind of hit or miss this entire season. Next season, they say it's going to be a lighter tone. And
I feel like he's going to become more like the Green Arrow. That
Oh
we
no!
were used
Well,
to.
Amel actually said not too long ago, either in an interview or on Twitter or something, where he said this season's the last time he's going to wear the Arrow costume, which which leads me to believe that he will become the Green
Green
Arrow
Arrow.
in the next season, which means hopefully we'll get the beard, the goatee, and a much more
Lighthearted.
Robin Hood-esque character. We'll see. But the Flash, whoa.
Holy crap!
Dude,
Yeah.
that was an incredible season finale.
I heard Jay
I
Garrick's
think
helmet
that might have been
appeared.
better than Shields.
Yes, and not only did Jay Garrick's helmet appear, it was a catalyst to make Wells go, "It's time for me to
Go.
leave."
He knew what followed,
Yeah, but
and he name dropped
technically,
Rip Hunter.
I mean, I heard it was really good, but my only thing with it is the paradox that was created. Technically, now none of this season happened.
Exactly. It was a massive paradox. It's like, well, if he's the reason why the Flash survived and became the Flash, then how did he become the Flash, and why is he? So, yeah, it
Hi,
left it.
welcome to Temporal Mechanics.
Exactly. It's
No,
like,
Don't ask questions.
This is beyond temporal mechanics because of how far back Reverse Flash goes in that show and in Flash's history. It changes
yeah,
a lot.
Star
of
Lab
stuff.
should have disappeared.
Well, not only that, let's see. His mother should be alive. His dad shouldn't be
Well,
in
you got to think
jail.
from that point on, it's creating a different timeline now.
But if that's the case, then Eddie sacrificing himself shouldn't have gotten rid of Reverse Flash.
Yeah, again, first off, Eddie's not dead. Eddie got sucked into into the wormhole singularity thing, which leads to other universes, which they've already confirmed that the multiverse is going to be in next season, and that Flash will.
But
Reverse
Travel.
Flash will be
didn't
back.
he shoot himself?
He shot himself, but that's not to say that he did not get sucked into the 30th century, or where was it, the whatever century that Thrawn is from. He said 150 years, which isn't very far in the future.
So, probably 22nd, 23rd at most.
I thought he was from the 30th century. books. He was like a millennia away. I don't know, but either way, he's not dead. No, it was
And they've
like
said that
his
that
body got
Wells
sucked up,
is
and I
coming
was
back.
like, he's not dead. His body just got dragged. And Flash could have saved his mom. He could have picked her up and ran her to the hospital. I don't
Not
understand
better.
that. Now, I did love the fact that we got to see the Flash costume, not the one he's wearing now, but we got to see the Scarlet Speedster in the bright red costume with the white arrow on, or white flash thing on the front. It was a different costume in the future. We got to see Killer Frost. There was, and it was a very quick thing of Killer Frost. If you blinked, you missed it, but it was there. There was a few other things I was like, ooh, ooh, ooh,
The
and it was
Flash
such,
Museum.
yeah, it was such a good episode.
Okay,
Name drop Rip Hunter.
here's the deal with the Valiant movie deal. Only two right now. Only two of their comic series are getting movies: Bloodshot and Harbinger. But Bloodshot is getting a sequel, Harbinger is getting a sequel, and then they're doing a movie, Harbinger Wars, which is basically Bloodshot versus Harbinger.
So no one's gonna care.
Well, apparently a lot of people care. I didn't realize this since Valiant rebooted a few years ago. They've been extremely popular, and at one point in the '90s, they were the number one indie comic company in the world. So I don't know. I don't know a whole lot about Valiant. I do know Bloodshot like ties into like a bunch of other stuff in the Valiant universe, and I'm assuming Harbinger does as well. Isn't Exo Man of War Valiant also?
Yes, I do believe so. That is a character I do know the name. Everybody there? Y'all go away?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh.
Mine
I've
blanked
just never
out.
heard of Valiant comics before, so I have no input.
Haven't bought any of them. I guess
You
I don't
know
think
what?
I've even seen them actually.
You know what's really sad is there are certain Image books from the 90s I think that with an update they could work really good on screen. I think Spawn would be incredible nowadays with the effects and stuff we have now compared to the computer generated crap that we saw back in the 90s in that movie.
That film wasn't terrible.
It wasn't terrible. I mean, it was cheesy. It had a lot of cheese going on. I mean, it was like Velveeta at times, but the it was not a bad film. Now, given an update and stuff, I think Spawn could work well on screen. I think that I can't believe I'm saying this. I think Youngblood could actually work.
Something tells me we're never going to see that one on screen.
Probably not. But it was just like, I know Spawn could work. What was it? Fathom could probably work.
Fathom's Image, I think.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking. The old Image series. There was a bunch of stuff that I think that Image could have pulled off on screen.
I'm trying to think of some other Image comics that they could have done.
Wetworks.
Oh no, that's interesting. A lot of the old Valiant comics are actually old Gold Key comics, apparently. Magnus, Robot Fighter, and Dr. Solar, and I guess Turok are all Gold Key comics.
I have a couple old Gold Key comics floating around.
Didn't they do the Star Trek comics for a while?
Yes, they did, and they have the dubious bit that they made Uhura a blonde white chick in their first episode, in their first series, because they had no idea, because they hadn't seen anything. They were just given the license and told to go. So when they got to coloring it and doing all the colors and stuff, she turned into a blonde white chick with the name of Uhura, but I think they spelled it with an O too. Uhura.
Uhura.
So she was of African Irish descent.
Oh, now don't you know?
Chica, hold her liquor.
Yeah, but they
Until
did do
she
Star
don't lick her
Trek.
all day.
I think Gold Key did some Disney stuff too.
Oh wow, I didn't realize Jim Shooter helped found Valiant Comics.
Oh, so they've only got 3 movies slated.
No,
Part-
they've got 5 slated. Bloodshot Part 2, I guess. Harbinger Part 2, and then Harbinger Wars.
Bloodshot. Who was Bloodshot? Why does that name sound familiar?
He's the guy with like the big red mark on his chest, and he's white, like pale white. It's really weird. It's like blood nanites or something.
Huh. Who did Shadowhawk?
Isn't that Image?
Was it Image that did Shadowhawk? I think he was. What was it? Because you know who he was underneath the mask for a long time.
Wasn't he an HIV positive black guy?
I think so, and I remember there was a big issue in one of the books where someone said something derogatory towards a black guy, and he lost his mind and beat the dude.
Well,
Marvel.
I remember there's an issue where there's another guy with a similar costume running around.
That's right.
And he's murdering black people. And Shadowhawk tracks him down and is like, "What the F is your problem?" And he goes, "I would think you would agree. They're all criminals." And then Shadowhawk takes off his mask and the guy has like a heart attack.
Shadowhawk was originally to be used for the Marvel character Starhawk while he had darkness powers, but there was the guy who actually did create this Shadowhawk. Somebody convinced him to, use it for a totally new character instead. So it was Image Comics under the Shadow line.
I know he had to
Seems
do.
fitting.
He broke the backs of he broke everybody's back. He would just like jump into them and smash their back.
I remember he was like uber violent. That's about all I remember about him.
Yes, it was one of the more violent comic books. I really hope that we don't have such a glut of comic book stuff that it just becomes blasé and people start getting lazy.
Well, right now the comics themselves, especially for the big 2, are going through a major contraction. I mean, we got Secret Wars going on, which, I admit, the story is kind of interesting, although it looks like kind of so far like a rehash of one of the, I think it's Earth's Mightiest Heroes episodes, but I'll have to wait and see how the next couple issues turn out.
And
you
DC
got
is basically
Convergence.
just completely screwing up their timelines.
Let's see. Captain America is. You got a Planet Hulk series that's actually starring Captain America now. It's weird.
Yeah, I am completely, as I keep trying to follow all the DC stuff, I have no idea what's going on. I completely, it confused me to where I was like, there's too many books to have to buy.
So the Convergence covers are, I had absolutely no desire whatsoever to buy them because they do this gradient thing where they have like an old school drawing of, classic characters, but the gradient effect is of like a color that washes out almost the entirety of that. It's like, I don't want to buy that. I have no idea what the hell's going on with it. Whereas the Secret Wars comics are very dynamic and have a ton of characters right there on the pages or on the covers. Yeah, okay. I'm kind of curious, and so I've been buying them.
I have on Free Comic Book Day I grabbed Secret Wars 0, and that was actually pretty good. It made me want to read more.
Yeah, I got the 0 one as well. And it's all merged into Battle World.
Yes. I thought Battle World was DC's.
Well, maybe it is, and they're thumbing their nose at them.
Ooh,
Could be.
maybe my Secret Wars #4 will have gone up in value now.
Maybe. I mean, there's 8 parts to the new Secret Wars.
This is the original Secret Wars.
Yeah, I know. I'm saying
With the Beyonder.
Part 4 is the one where Hulk is holding the mountain off of like all the heroes.
Hulk no smash. So you think we're going to see the Red Hulk in the Marvel Universe?
I think they've cured him.
No, I mean in the MCU because General Ross is back.
Yeah, I was gonna say Thunderbolt Ross is supposed to be coming back.
He's in Captain
Huh?
America.
He's going to be in Civil War, yeah. Who isn't going to be in Civil War, though?
I don't know. The whole Red Hulk thing seems like it'd be really hard to translate to the screen without completely changing it up.
Majel Barrett's talking to you.
Hailed by Starfleet Command again.
Oh, somebody I follow on YouTube just uploaded a video.
I don't know. I think the well, do they really need two Hulks? Well,
No.
if they ship the Green Hulk off into outer space.
Well, they did set up things that they could do things with more Hulk story stuff, like the leader could appear, and we don't know what the hell happened to Abomination.
Well, what's really funny is I kind of thought that the Incredible Hulk movie was kind of like the bastard stepchild of the MCU, where they kind of didn't want to acknowledge it. But
it's because they don't own the full rights to it.
I know, but it was they touch on it, but they never actually it's like, yes, this is part of it. It's like when you look at the MCU, this is it. And now they bring William Hurt into the mix, and I'm like, okay, well now you just acknowledge the movie completely. So everything that happened in that film is completely just like, yes, the Abomination, all of that, it's all there.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. acknowledged Abomination.
No, the one shot acknowledged Abomination. Shield.
Yeah, they haven't actually said it in Shield.
They never said anything about the Abomination on the show, but I know the one shot with Sitwell and Coulson. They talk about wanting to bring the Abomination into the Avengers Initiative, and that's when they send in Tony Stark to talk about it.
No, wasn't there on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. in the first season where he threatens to send somebody to go guard Blonsky or something?
That's right! He told Ward he was going to send him to Siberia to watch Blonsky.
Ah, so they did mention him. That's right.
Yes, they did.
Totally didn't even catch that.
I'd completely forgotten about it.
Supposedly they've been hiding Blonsky from Thunderbolt Ross.
Yeah, same with the Hulk. They were kind of keeping him. They were keeping Ross off his back.
Well, no, but they told Ross that they don't know where Blonsky is, even though they've got him locked up.
Oh, so they could bring him into it. Sure, Tim Roth wouldn't mind.
Although he's probably not locked up anymore.
Thanks,
Who knows? Do you think Hydra would actually let him out?
Yes.
They let out Angar
No
the
doubt in my
Screamer,
mind.
for God's sakes.
Yeah, but in the case of the Abomination, he follows his own path, and who knows if the whole hypnosis thing would have even worked. For one thing, how are you going to get him in the room to hypnotize him? And they sure as hell didn't try it on the Screamer. There are some of them that even they said, no, we ain't messing with them.
Angar the Screamer. Now, it's funny that they kept the cheesy aspect to Angar the Screamer, but they made Batroc the Leaper actually pretty cool.
Well, I mean, if GSP's going to play him, he's got to be cool.
Batroc the Leaper.
Leap?
That's like trying to bring Kraven the Hunter into the Spider-Man movies.
I like Kraven.
The dude wears a lion.
Actually, for a while, Kraven was one of Spider-Man's really big evil baddies. He did a number on Spider-Man at one point.
Yeah, because he could track him. I mean, he's as strong, if not stronger. Yeah, you can mess him up.
And Kraven dying was a huge storyline.
All right, now Convergence is confusing me even more because I'm looking things up and it's like, okay, it's all set on a mechanical world located outside time and space. And Brainiac is basically bringing all of the DC Universe cities and from everywhere, different time periods, and shoving them into one place.
That's what Convergence is?
Yeah. And they're talking like pre-Flashpoint, pre-Zero Hour, and pre-Crisis on Infinite Earths, as well as various other worlds from the original multiverse, and each one dome. So then he opens the domes and sees what happens. But the aftermath of Convergence will see an end to the New 52 branding. I'm okay with that.
I'm fine with that.
but the continuity established by the New 52 will continue.
Huh.
And let's see, beginning June 3rd, lasting through June and July, the DC comic line of comic books will consist of 24 new series that will begin at issue 1. I hate that. And alongside those, they'll continue publishing 25 of their existing ongoing titles, all of which will maintain their current numbering and storylines.
So
Well-
wait a second. Every one of these timelines has Superman. And that's just kind of like, duh. You gotta put Superman against Superman against Superman against Superman against Superman?
Maybe? Possibly?
But they're talking multiverse as well, right? It's not just from one universe. Okay, so you could have like Superman the Red Sun and a few other. You can have like Kingdom Come Superman and a few others. That's kind of cool.
Could you have now? See if the way Marvel does it, technically, like if it was Marvel having Superman, you could even have Christopher Reeve's Superman. But I don't know that DC does it that way.
Probably not. It would be kind of cool though.
Well, the way it's read now is that it's actually not going to merge all of DC into one again. So that's not happening.
So that aspect of the New 52 is not going to be there.
The New 52 is still going to be New 52. It's just they're not going to have the brand on it anymore because it's silly to continue that.
But I thought the New 52 did away with the multiverse.
Supposedly. Ish.
Ish. Well, you know what? I read an article not too long ago about the whole because DC is not the only one that has continuity issues and stuff like that. Except when they try to get rid of their continuity issues, they seem to make more for themselves. Well, Marvel owns it. They're like, "Yep, we got these problems, and we're gonna own it." We got this, we got this, we got this, and then you get things like the Spider-Verse.
Yeah,
they approach the continuity and the universe issues differently.
DC's never been very good at just sweeping things under the rug and acting like they never happened.
Oh, sure they do. They swept it under the rug that Superman and Batman met as kids, and Superboy never actually told Bruce Wayne that his parents were going to die.
But isn't that retconned by Infinite Crisis?
I guess so it is, but it's still one of the biggest laughs I ever had on superdickery.com, where it's got a really young Superboy and Bruce Wayne staring at a computer screen showing the future, and it's like, look, one day we'll fight alongside each other in the future. And he's like, yeah, don't tell him his parents are going to die before then.
He can't. It'll change the future.
Yeah, I don't think they're too worried about that anymore.
How did they get around that in the 50s? I mean, there was a reason why Batman was Batman. I mean, his parents were murdered in front of him. And the 50s softened everything and made it all sci-fi, and Batman was fighting some aliens or whatever, and they tried to make it less dark, but Batman had to be Batman for a reason.
Who knows? I mean, they did a lot of things. They didn't pay much attention to continuity back then.
You're talking about a character that legitimately threw a woman over his knee and said, "Papa Spank."
I have no words now.
That's true. Did they even acknowledge? I think they acknowledged the murder of the Waynes in the original 1966 show. I have to go back and look. I think they did acknowledge it in one episode where he talked about it. Is your
If you read
raid
a raid,
done?
you must have died often.
Quick, kill him again.
Could be a zombie.
No,
Kill it.
The raid isn't done because people won't listen.
Did you have fun storming the castle?
No.
Oh, okay.
Tell people to keep standing on the platform. Nobody wants to stand on the platform. Everybody dies.
What game were you raiding in?
Destiny. I was helping some people who've never done Crota's End through Crota's End and could not get across the bridge because nobody would stay on the platform when I told them to stay on the platform.
Hey, Ray, just by the way, Alistair's back.
Yeah. And when they would stay on the platform, they took that as stand completely still and be a bullet sponge.
Sorry, I had to. Did you sing the campfire song? Tell them to start singing the campfire song?
No. I got up and walked away for 5 minutes.
So your character literally just stood there.
Yeah.
We like to call that off. Fuck it.
Ah.
That's when you come back and just speak in derp speak.
And for those
Then we
who are
would
not
have
aware of that,
Dawn on
that's
the
like
show.
that is a country somewhere in southern Asia.
To speak derp speak would require Dawn's proficiency.
Derp de derp de derp. No, just come back and talk like that. Just talk like the Swedish chef for the rest of the raid.
Used to go. Everybody's deeper to play it for pork.
Or you could do the adults from Peanuts. Wah 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 wah.
Or Chopper, depending on your fandom.
Oh yeah.
The Stig.
That's just a bunch of beeps, though. Kind of sounds like a dot matrix printer.
Oh, jeez. There's something I'm kind of glad we moved away from.
What, dot matrix? Yeah.
Speaking of outdated computer noises, Cade, have you ever even heard a dial-up modem?
Yes.
Here,
Here,
hold on a second. I got a towel over here. Let me dry behind your ears for you.
I'm not that young.
Wah, 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 wah.
I act like I'm 5 sometimes.
Okay, here you go. Complete age test on you. First cartoon you remember watching as a child.
Bugs Bunny.
Oh, well, that's not fair.
I actually,
First modern day cartoon you remember.
I don't like modern day cartoons.
Okay.
I would watch
Okay.
the old ones.
The oldest cartoon I remember that I can recall 100% is probably Transformers.
In its first run?
No.
Oh, okay. I'm talking first run.
Probably Sonic, Satam.
Okay. Sad thing is, mine would be the Super Friends.
First run? Ninja Turtles, I would think.
First run of what again? Sorry.
First run, as a child, when you're old enough to remember, sit down, bowl of cereal on a Saturday morning or on a weekday after school. First cartoon you remember watching as a kid.
Pokemon.
Ninja Turtles or Gummy Bears? Maybe She-Ra.
Okay, so that gives you that sets you in the mid to late 80s.
There was Spider-Man and Friends. There was Dungeons and Dragons, the Gummy Bears. There was Thundercats, but I didn't see that one because we only had 3 channels on a good day, on a good Saturday. There
I
was the
have
Superman
had to live with
TV.
that pain.
No, it was actually Superman must have came later. Was it still on the farm then? Transformers was definitely one.
Mm-hmm. It's just really
But-
weird because it's like, I don't know, I'm thinking about it. Yeah, Super Friends. That would be
See-
the first one I remember as a kid sitting down and watching.
It's hard for me to say first run because in the late 80s they were still willing to run cartoon series on Saturday morning network television for years after they had
That's
finished
true.
making new
That is
episodes.
true. Well, let's see. If I'm going to say, I can't say Super Friends because the Super Friends came out the year I was born. It would have been Challenge of the Super Friends, which would have been 77. Yeah, 76, 77. So yeah, Challenge of the Super Friends, which had the Legion of Doom and stuff. And that
Plus,
was Saturday mornings.
My dad used to like to go to the movies to Blockbuster and Errol's Video and rent me VHS tapes of the Saturday morning cartoon show.
Yeah, you know what? I go through these nostalgia things, which really freaks me. I was watching Star Wars or Empire Strikes Back the other day, and I had it on in the background while I was drawing, and I got hit with this wave of complete homesick feeling for being a kid, where it was just like, oh man, because I can remember where I was when I saw this and all that kind of stuff, and I was thinking about it. And I go through this, I'll go through YouTube and I'll watch all the old cartoons and stuff. I'm like, oh man, I remember that cartoon. I remember sitting down and watching that. It's like Jason of Star Command. 1978, right after Star Wars came out, all these sci-fi shows came out for kids. I remember that show when it was first aired, and I was just like, man, I am so old. Where did I go?
I think that my first one must have been Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends.
Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends.
The Spider Friends with Frank Welker as the voice of Iceman.
Yes.
But I was probably watching the reruns by
Miss Kitty.
that again. I'm not entirely certain. It's jeez. I was, oh boy, at least 4 years old. It's amazing what things stick out in your mind, though. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, the original release of that was 81 to 83.
I remember sitting down and watching new episodes of Battlestar Galactica. And being really freaked out about the one where Lucifer showed up. Like the real devil, not like Lucifer the Cylon, but Lucifer the dude that was the devil. That when they shot him, he turned into the horned creature. Freaked me out as a kid. Same way Land of the Lost did, and those were in reruns when I was a kid, and I hated those stupid dinosaurs.
The Land of the Lost?
The original Land of the Lost, I was terrified of that as a kid.
I actually love that show.
Land of the Lost.
Nah, for real. You know what? You can ask my mother if she's ever listening to the show again and she pops up. Ask my mom about what I used to do when Land of the Lost came on. It was all kinds of bad. And now you go back and watch them now, and they really are horribly done puppets.
I remember the Land of the Lost. Of course, granted, I was watching reruns at that point.
Yeah, they were reruns when I was watching them, too. I mean, the show was from the early 70s, late 60s, or whatever it was.
74 to 76.
Yeah, see, I was 1 to 3. And they were in reruns when I was 5 and 6, so.
I mean, not that much older than me.
No, not that much older. But Tade, you're still the baby of the bunch. If Pokemon is the first cartoon you can remember watching,
he doesn't know the horror that we went through.
Wait. Was this Pokemon before the first Pokemon movie?
Yes. This
Before
was the
Mewtwo?
original Pokemon. Yes. This was Pikachu was a fat little dick.
Okay, now I got a question for you. Seeing as I am completely Pokemon illiterate, is it true that Mewtwo, or whatever his name is a clone of an extinct Pokemon that walks around with its own umbilical cord wrapped around its tail?
What?
No.
What?
Okay,
No.
Never mind. Okay.
I vaguely recall that, though.
Someone has been looking at the realistic in adaptations of Pokemon. Now, Mewtwo is a clone of Mew, which is not extinct. It's just there's only one left.
Oh, okay.
See, I've heard that theory
it's
before,
apparently
though.
an immortal.
I've heard that theory before, and I'd completely forgotten about it. Maybe I blocked it out until you mentioned it.
I think the first cartoons I watched straight from the beginning, though, had to have been Doug and Rugrats.
Oh.
You know what? I
that's
wish I
90
could say that.
That's 91.
Okay, and you know what? And it's like you guys were in the age where Rocko's Modern Life were first run for you guys and that kind of stuff, and that's cool. Going back and looking at the stuff now because that popped up on my news feed today, cartoons that had such adult references. I had no regular show actually had imagery of one of the characters on a pamphlet that was a split-second shot that made it through onto the air at 3 o'clock in the afternoon of, I think, the Blue Jay with his genitals exposed and the raccoon with his mouth open, and the name of the pamphlet for the band or whatever album they were trying to sell was Regular Blow Suck My Morticock. And that was on the show, aired at 3 in the afternoon. And
what the hell were the executives
I was
thinking?
like, exactly. I'm like, are you kidding me? You know what? That's a subliminal image. If it goes on screen for less than a second, it's subliminal. You see it, even though you don't think you saw it. And I was like, wait. And this was because it was one of the shows that was supposed to go to Adult Swim, but didn't. And they just kept throwing their imagery out there. And I was like, wow, that show right there lays waste to anything Rocco's did or anything that came before it when it comes to innuendo and stuff that they put on there. Blew my mind. I was like, I can't believe that. Now, there were the Animaniacs, which there were some jokes in Animaniacs I didn't realize were there. I was like, whoa, that was whoa.
I need you to know
Nice.
fingerprints.
They had a
No,
few from the
fingerprints.
original.
The fingerprints joke. Oh god,
That's my favorite.
The
I don't
finger-
think so.
There, what was it?
I did that.
What was it? The
Hello,
monkey
nurse.
song. The monkey song. I had to re-sing it to myself. Where the nurse, hello nurse, goes, I don't know what to do, and Yakko looks at it and goes, for a nickel, I'll give you a clue. I was like, whoa,
They got away with so much.
something, and there was something else where, oh, what was it? Dexter's Laboratory, where he's jumping up and down in front of this fairly buxom woman. And he says something where he's like, yes, I would love to see you dance. And she goes, yeah, but that'll be $50 extra.
I remember that.
I was like, whoa.
And then there's Johnny Bravo.
Well, Johnny
They
Bravo
didn't,
was
they didn't
nothing
really
but
try to
one.
hide that.
No, it was just one innuendo after the other.
A
And so
one-man army.
Now, it's funny because I was an adult watching those, so it was kind of funny. And it was just like, but the regular show, there's a reason that show does not get shown in my house.
Other
Do
than
you
the
guys-
fact that it's a horrible show.
Yeah.
Adam and Tank. Do you guys remember Super Ted?
Super Ted.
About
ringing a bell.
the broken teddy bear that gets fixed and given superpowers.
Yes, I do remember that. It was on ABC.
Because I'm a little young for the first run. I would have been 1 years old. But that is one that my dad started picking up at the video store for me at an early age.
I remember that one. Now, it was really
No,
funny. is-
wait a minute. This was on what channel?
I think it was on ABC back in the late.
No, that's
early
why
80s.
that was the third channel that we had a hard time getting on a regular basis.
I'm pretty sure it was one of the later Saturday morning cartoons that came on almost when you were told to go outside and play. It was one of those. By noon, when you were completely hyped up on sugar syrup, and your mom looked at you and said, "Okay, you get outside now, and don't come back till it's dark." Ah, the good old days.
Okay, here's one for you. Do you remember Gnomes, the film?
No.
That was a 1980 animated film, and it's based on the book of the same name.
That was on Nickelodeon.
Yes, I believe. And there was
No,
also
isn't
apparently a
that
television
David
series.
the Gnome?
Yes, the
That
world
was
of
on
David the Gnome.
Nickelodeon.
Yes. And it had Tom Bosley as the voice of David the Gnome. I am a veritable cornucopia of useless knowledge.
But
I'm
yeah,
amazed I'm having to look this stuff up because it's like I remember watching a film that had gnomes in it, but I couldn't remember the name of it, and lo and behold, it's just called Gnomes.
no, but if this tells you anything about the type of person my dad is, one of the other big things he would rent for me constantly and watch with me is the 70s Ghostbusters stuff.
Oh yeah, the ones before the 80s where they
With the
had
ape.
to put the real Ghostbusters.
Yeah, with the gorilla.
Yes.
Yeah, and the talking ghost car thing.
Now, yeah, I remember. That was on Nickelodeon.
The car is only in the cartoon.
Nickelodeon was
That's what I
where I was
remember.
first introduced to Star Trek the Animated Series because they ran that when Nickelodeon was first starting up. They had all the old cartoons because they didn't have any original programming yet.
That would have probably been my first experience to it too, sometime in the late 80s.
Yeah, it was mid 80s actually, like 85, 86. Somewhere around there. I remember that was when we first got cable in the new house, and it was like, oh, Nickelodeon, cool, what's this? And I think it was like 6 o'clock in the morning on Saturdays they aired Star Trek the animated series.
I also remember you can't say that on television.
And let's see, they did Danger Mouse. That was my introduction
Oh,
to
I
Brit-
used to watch
to
Danger
British
Mouse
cartoons
all the time.
Danger Mouse, Duckula.
Oh, Count Duckula. I was never a big
Yes.
fan of that one. Super Ted is Welsh, actually.
It was like a bunch of them, and then it's
Oh, what was the one with the baby that turned into like a superhero?
Fangface
No,
and Sun.
No, it's like he's a baby with red hair, and he travels through space and stuff with his toy robot and stuff.
Do not remember that one.
Not ringing a bell.
He eventually grows up to be Will Robinson.
He eventually throws up.
Grows up.
Now I have to say, when I look back on things, I was like, yeah, I remember seeing Star Wars when I was a kid for the first time, and blah blah blah. I was there in '84 when Transformers was it '84, yeah, Transformers first aired.
Yeah.
83 when G.I. Joe first aired. I remember that. I remember
G.I. Joe.
I remember G.I. Joe becoming a series in late '84, early '85. And it was really confusing because like the first season had 107 episodes. It was weird. It was like the longest season of cartoons ever. I remember like going to see Transformers the movie when it came out in theaters. It's like I got to grow up in a really cool what so many people say, oh, that was such a cool era in the 80s, and I'm like, no man, I lived that. It's like when the Cafe 80s opens up next year somewhere in California and we all start flying around on hoverboards, I'm gonna have to go. Oh wait, no, that's this year. Holy crap, it's 2015.
Yeah, the Cubs got to win the World Series this year too.
Yeah.
I'm still mad that Pirates of Darkwater never finished.
You know, I watched it, but I never got into it.
It's easier once you watch the beginning of it and watch it all the way through.
Yeah, when I first watched it, I caught it about a few episodes in, but a few years later they were replaying it on Cartoon Network, and I watched it, and I kind of wish that it had been finished. And Cartoon Network made a bump that they play between shows and commercials that picked fun at the fact that it was never finished, where they were answering fan mail and someone had asked if they had the unaired episodes of Pirates of Darkwater, and the announcer's like, sure, here, let's play them. And it started the intro to Pirates of the Darkwater, and then it changed over to a documentary about cats drinking milk. It would appear that someone has recorded over the final episodes of Pirates of Darkwater with a documentary on cats.
How come?
No, it was slow motion tape, so it was more like...
Was it narrated by Morgan Freeman?
No, this would have been before Morgan Freeman's immense online popularity.
Ah, okay. Oh, yeah.
How
come no one has ever redone Thundar the Barbarian?
I would like for, a modern, slightly gritty take on SWAT Cats.
That'd be kind of cool.
Make that Irish?
That would be cool. That would be really cool on like Toonami.
Oh yeah. I might actually watch Toonami.
And maybe if you're a redo on Thundercats that didn't stray so far from the original.
Well, they could have also continued with the remade He-Man. The only thing about that series I didn't like was the sword for, Adam. That was a really bulky, ridiculous-looking sword.
True. It wasn't a bad show compared to the Thundercats one.
No, I actually thought that the remake of the He-Man was a hell of a lot better than the original, which, granted, is not that difficult to beat, but...
Yeah, but there's a certain... It's like kind of like... Well, I know you can't watch the original series of Star Trek. I go back for the nostalgia aspect of it.
There was certainly the nostalgia aspect, and the fact that they started, they start the episodes with the opening credits like that, and then suddenly, this ain't your 80s He-Man.
Yeah.
Just switch it up on you.
And to this day, I still can't watch the original He-Man episodes without thinking of He-Man parody number 3 on YouTube.
Hey.
No, it's the one where Skeletor wants He-Man to fight Lion-O from the Thundercats.
Well, I have to run, gentlemen.
You don't have to run.
No, I do. I have to be up at like 5:45 in the morning.
Oh.
What you gotta do?
Drive up to Duke.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
But before you go...
Are you going to see Flint after that?
I don't know. Michigan's a long way from here.
Oh.
Before you go, Wolfie, I have one of those things you've been wanting for a long time sitting behind me.
Oh, so many jokes over the time.
I got a Raspberry Pi kit behind me.
How did you get your hands on one of those?
It's one of Doc's. It's from my capstone.
Ah!
Now he's going to leave and he's going to be all ticked off. Nice.
No, I'm not going to be ticked off because he doesn't get to keep it.
No. But the one I get to work on for the actual project, this is just to play with. The one I get to actually work on is being kept.
What? You're going to steal from the school?
No, because the one that I'm actually going to work on is going to be installed at Doc's place. Because it's going to manage a camera.
Oh, so you're not keeping it, Doc's keeping it.
But I'm going to maintain it. It's my job.
You know what
Yeah,
though?
but see, I want it for a specific purpose. You know, I want to build an arcade machine with it.
I will tell you though, you need an HDMI monitor.
Okay.
Yeah, we kind of started working on that today and realized that there are no HDMI monitors on campus.
I have HDMI monitors.
I do too. I got 3. Well, I got 2 on a TV.
But I better run. See y'all
Well,
later.
We're gonna end right here anyway. It's a good time to end right there.
Oh, okay, I'll stick around till the end. And,
We got 2.